Hello guys, it's it's Friday, April 4th, and the time is 3:38 at night. I sleep randomly, and I function best when it's very, very late. I was just watching Stuck and Kylie, and I thought I've been inspired to make a little video. I want to say that the stuff on my channel, I'm not going to remove it, but there's going to be a totally a new chapter here. I think it's okay to see what has been, not everything, but part of what has been leading up to this point. And now that I think about it, I think I do talk about in more detail what has been leading to that point at making that video. Maybe for one or some of the videos, right? I'm in the Portuguese islands of the Azores, and we're just about to begin to creep out of the winter time. On the 1st of April, we had hail, and we're in subtropical climate, and I was talking to somebody down in the street, and they said, we've never had a winter this cold. This winter is especially cold, and the temperatures has been down to 10 degrees at times, and it could be even maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 degrees. So I don't know, let me just convert that to Fahrenheit. Hold on. Okay. So 10 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's say 7 would be 44 degrees, 44.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 degrees, 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit. I wonder if I have. Right now, they say it's, let me just check, 13 degrees. Is the location right? Settings. Yeah. The location is Ponta Delgada. We are on the island of São Miguel. There's 9 islands out here. We are quite a bit out into the Atlantic Ocean, like from Europe, maybe 1/3 of the way, one quarter of the way towards America. Let me see. I didn't really plan this, so map. Here, right. Light, dark. All right. Yeah. It's 1,000 miles off the coast of Lisbon, Northern Africa. Yeah. I came out here because of an explosion accident that happened to me 5 years and 4 months ago while I was at work. My job was to empty fire extinguishers at a recycling plant and separate iron, plastic, the powder inside. For the most part, more than 95% were ABC powder fire extinguishers in all kinds of sizes, like up to really, really heavy with wheels. Like you can't lift it. So sizes like for the, Christmas tree, that kind of small fire extinguisher for, they would sell at Christmas, or and then all sizes. So one was 80 centimeters tall or so. I'm just estimating. Let me just, let's see. So 80 centimeters to inches is 31 and a half inches. I'm just guessing, maybe it was a little bit, sounds about right. And it was maybe 35. No. Yeah, 30, 35 centimeters in the diameter from one side to the other side at the widest point. So 30. So 11.8, maybe 13.7. And I don't know. In hindsight, I do know. And from the investigation, I kind of know. But at the time and thinking about it, I really don't know where I was and what I was doing. what the process was. I remember my head being above it. It was standing on the ground, and my head was above it, and I hear the iron scream because it's being ripped, torn apart by pressure. And I thought there was no pressure. So in the fraction of a second, I think several thoughts at the same time. What? This is not supposed to be pressurized. That's impossible. I didn't think it was pressurized. I thought, your head is in the line of fire. Your head is right above. If it shoots straight up, you better remove your head and take your head out of the line of fire. And I just do not quite manage to remove my head, and the top part, 2 to 3 kilos of iron. Let's see, 2 to 3 kilo, 2, which is 4.4 pounds, maybe 3, maybe 6.6 pounds. Oops. I had to weaken it trying to open it, and it has some screwing windings. It cracked underneath the screwing windings, and it shut off the top like a cannonball, like a champagne cork. And it braced the side of my face. It pulled the skin up to the cheekbone, because I have a lot of damage inside that my face is not really moving the way it's supposed to move. Thereafter, the top part continued to rip a hole through and almost passed through an iron roof. The thing hit me in the chest first. It must have spun around somehow, I don't know, and it took the side of my face and continued to almost rip through an iron roof. The boom was incredible. The boom was so deep and so loud. I was wearing earplugs. I was supposed to wear a mask, and I didn't have that mask. It was the breathing protection from the dust. I was always wearing that, but sometimes it's I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes my guess is I was just a little late to put it on, or I took it down for some reason. I have no idea. It was not there to take some impact. And in the investigation, they said, we have always seen you with your protective gear, and we know you do things by the book. So we don't know. But it looks like you did not wear that. Because it has like it closes, so it would have been ripped if I had worn it properly. Yeah. Anyway, I went to 2 hospitals thereafter. First, the local hospital, quite big hospital. I was lucky to have such a big hospital so close. I must say that was nice not to have a lot of transport. Uh, from there, they took me to the main hospital in the capital they considered plastic surgery, but they decided, hey, we have this guy, he's really good at sewing. So he put 25 stitches in my face, and there's something here that has healed really, really well. It's just amazing how it needs a very special light to be visible. This one is more visible. The accident happened 10, 11 or so in the morning, and by 11 p.m., 23 o'clock, they were about ready to send me home. And I reached home around midnight. They said, go take a taxi home. I can't afford that, so I took the public transport. My ex could not handle what had happened to me, and it was a huge shock for her to experience me coming home in bandages that needed to be double layer because it was bleeding through. They said we better put on another layer. It looks kind of drastic. It looks like a whole lot of bad, really bad. That I was bleeding through the bandages. My eye was pretty messed up. I think I have a scratch in my eye. I don't know how the eye works, if there's a crack, a rip, a tear. Anyway, we ended up in a discussion, and it got a bit heated, and I called the police, which I've never done. I was afraid for the stitches to be torn up. It wasn't that heated, but it's just I had that inclination that, hey, this can get really ugly. It can get out of control. I made the choice to call the police. So let me say, this is Copenhagen, where the accident happened, where I was working. But there's like the distance is from home in Sweden. I could go to work in 40, 45 minutes. it would take maybe 25 minutes to reach the central station in Copenhagen, and from there there's another train, and I'd be at work. So I'd cross-border commute from Sweden to Denmark every day. I have a tendency to go blank a little sometimes. Um, so um, so they sent me home. I, the, you know, the police, they took me with them, injured, and put me in a cell for the maximum time allowed, 4 days. When they let me out, they said, "You cannot go home." Like I had made trouble. It's really unbelievable how the police helped me to become homeless. Thereafter, I was homeless in the month of December, no, November, November 19th, 2019. That's when the accident happened. And that's when I did have one night of sleep at home, but the less than 48 hours later, I was in the jail cell and I was homeless. That winter was really cold and snowstormy. I rode around in public transport. Finally, there was a place for drug addicts. They took me in. They said, you are not really qualified to be here, but we think you should come in. Your situation is really bad. You're injured. We're gonna take care of you. Eventually, I had a paycheck coming. 19th on the 1st, there was the paycheck. I had some money. I purchased the train, the the train, connection, the 1 month free transport between work and home, the bridge. I had a habit of finding social workers, and I couldn't believe that there was no help and no consideration. And I felt something was really, really wrong. So I tried to talk to social workers about what had happened. And I had my tour around to different places, social workers, trying to talk to new people here and there. it ended up being 4 years of trying to get help, like roughly 4 years. No one ever helped. Sometimes I can sometimes I can talk about this. Sometimes I cannot. It is what it is, and I push through it. I couldn't cook for myself. I was eating with the drug addicts who got free food downtown Copenhagen. Like, I'd like to come there twice a day for the morning and later for the evening. They would close 6 o'clock p.m., 1800 hours, and the food for the evening would be served 5 o'clock p.m. for the next hour, and then they would close thereafter. We were maybe most of the clientele there to this soup kitchen were, and they served way better food than soup, let me tell you that. Anyway, most of the clientele there were hardcore drug addicts. Hardcore. The place would frequently, some weeks we would have like the full week, but it would be very normal that fights would break out and violence would break out and the place would shut down. Sometimes for hours. Usually they would open the next day, but it could be that violence broke out again. And there were days with, Sunday would be closed, so it's a 6-day week. There would be days that the week was 3 days because of fighting and violence. We'd have some other places to go, alternatives, but the Sunday was always tough. And we'd try to accumulate something in a little plastic bag or something to have something for the Sunday. Anyway, that's what I would do. The staff became like family. I really miss all of them. I have more flow in English than in Danish. Danish is my native language. But doing something like this, I don't have the flow. So, and I'd like to, I would like this to be internationally understood. But it's just so natural for me to always be in English because of my passions and my contacts, and my life is in English for the most part. I'm adopted from Greenland. My adoption family, adoption dad went to Greenland for work, for maybe some university or after university work. And adoption mother tagged along with him. They adopted me at some point while being in Greenland for 2 years. I don't know. I was in Greenland for a year and a half with them after being adopted. They adopted my sister from another family, so she's not really my real sister. I have a Greenlandish mother and a Danish father that I know very little about. He was a carpenter from Allerød, I think. My mother wouldn't tell me anything about him once I finally had contact. My sister was adopted maybe 6 months later. We were in Greenland for a year and a half after I was adopted, and then they went back to Denmark. They got divorced. They decided I will go with my mother to another part of Denmark. My sister stayed with my father, and I would be going back and forth for seeing my father and my sister. My father remarried, and he's in that same city, that same area, although he has moved a little bit out of the city, just slightly a little bit out of the city. I always had a feeling that it's gonna work out. I'm gonna know who my family is. And I've never thought much about it. It's just a feeling I always had. At some point I was living briefly in Denmark. There was the 10-year period of living in Malmö, the Swedish city, where I was living and cross-border commuting to work. So I was living in Denmark for a brief period of time. I was down in the laundry room. This was Copenhagen. and there was people from Greenland also down in the laundry room, and they may not know at first, but I said, you guys, I can see you're from Greenland, and I happen to be from Greenland too, like a half caste. And they said, oh yeah, we can tell. We can tell from your eyes. And we talked. They said, we live over there in the next block, and you're welcome to, here's our number, and you can call us. We can have coffee now and then. And we did. One day they said, don't you want to know who your family is? We can put a post in Facebook, and we can find out we can try to find out who your family is. And then nothing happened for, I don't know, 2-3 years. Nothing happened for a really long time. And then came the time of the accident. And the homelessness. I was only homeless for 3 weeks or so. 5 weeks, not really sure. It was so hard to find a room to rent when you are homeless and you have nowhere to shower, and you have the same pair of socks. They stink. And it was so hard to find a room to rent and be honest about the situation, and say, look, I'm really come from homelessness, and I really, really need a room. It worked out. Anyway, back to the accident, time of the accident, 19th November 2019. So Christmas, December 24th, and 2 days before New Year, 2020, that New Year, the phone, I hear the ding in Facebook. I read, it says, we are your family. It says, we're your family in Greenland. Your mother lives in Halmstad, also Sweden. And Sweden is big, kind of big and long, but she was 2 hours away. By train. They provided the phone number so I could call her. I called her, and we talked. she was with a new husband from Finland, not my father. They had been together for 40 years. He was working in the steel industry, in foreman, maybe even above foreman, traveling around to the steel plants and having a really good job. They said, why don't you come and spend New Year with us? You can come right now if you want. And I left. I packed a few things, and we had 2 days up until New Year, and we spent New Year together. We spent some other time together. They decided to take the jab because of the Corona time of the COVID. She died short thereafter, like so many. But I'm really pleased and happy that I got to meet my mother. I also got connected with my family in Greenland, which I'm very happy about. Now we're 5 years and 4 months after that accident. I left Denmark because I couldn't stand. Like 11 months ago, and maybe 11 and a half months ago, I left Denmark because I couldn't stand the wrong treatment, ignoring what was really the issue. And by wrong treatment, I mean, everybody said, you have psychological issues. And I said, no, I don't have psychological issues. I have an issue with brain damage from the pressure wave. I did the research because I knew something was wrong, and I couldn't find any social worker ever to support me. They did try, but nothing ever came out of it. And some even tried a lot, but nothing, I don't know, like a lot, I wouldn't, more than others, but nothing ever came out of it. The I don't know, I have to talk about it. I see I'm wearing 2 layers of, what's it called? Thermo thick winter kind of clothing. We're in subtropical climate here, but as I just said, it's like 10 degrees. Right now it was 13 degrees, and it's just, we don't have heaters. This place is even a little bit kind of nice and posh. And there's there might be houses that have some kind of heating systems, but I think those must be really high-end, expensive. This is high-end and quite expensive, but so even more than that, right? It's very normal that houses here they don't have the heating systems because we're in the subtropical climate and no need. For the winter, people are just accustomed to wearing more clothes. Yeah, back to social workers. I left Denmark. I was so tired of accusations of psychological diagnoses of different kinds. How can it be that there's a severe, serious accident? I should have died right there. Normally, that kind of pressure is lethal instantly. So when I survived that, how can they just say, you're fine, go home? I think they knew. I think they knew how bad it is. I think the company made a phone call, took care of things for their own advantage. I really think that. Ever since, it's been impossible for me to get help. I should have been provided with there's a word I'm looking for. Early intervention. I should have been provided with early intervention. And this was taken away from me. It's only now recently that I'm fairly functional, that I can have this much flow in my language and not have so much of the fruit training, not have so much of the going blank, which used to be a huge problem. I'd have to stop all the time and try to remember what am I talking about right now? What am I trying to say here? I'd start something and not be able to get through it. I'd have to ask people, can you help me with what did I start saying? And then, oh yeah, okay, now I know, and I could finish it. And it'd be a huge problem. It still is. Just not so much anymore. After the accident, I'd have trouble walking in a straight line. like if I think about walking because the ground is not level or something, it would get worse. And it feels really uncomfortable to walk, but just by instinct walking, yeah, that's when I would have a flow in walking. But sometimes you have to pay attention to if the ground is not level or if there's stones or if there's potholes or it feels like my leg would, I'd have trouble just walking straight. I would, getting in and out of a car, I would shut the door on my own head. I'd have a misjudgment of where am I and what am I doing. Very bad balance. The pain is permanent. Permanent headache for 5 years and 4 months and more. Permanent dizziness. Permanent nausea. Permanent discomfort as a best case scenario. I distract myself with being involved in something I'm passionate about, which is not difficult for me because I'm a huge nerd. I'm 54 years old now. Starting building that huge nerd started at the age of 20 or so. I've always studied from morning till evening. For some reason, the 10 years leading up to the accident was study from morning till evening, like more than ever before. I lived in isolation. For some reason, my partner and I, for some reason, we lived in isolation. We did not talk to friends. We did not talk to family. And I really studied the hell out of it to fix the situation. I dived into study and knowledge accumulation to fix a difficult situation. My partner, whom I still talk to today, not as a couple, but as a friend and as somebody I really care about. We still talk, we still try and help out each other and be there for each other. Now she's in Denmark and I'm here. In a Portuguese Azores. But we still talk. I met her in Africa in 2002. We got married in 2004. It's 23 years ago I met her. She knows how much I study and research. Pain, discomfort, I was talking about that. It's permanent. It's getting worse. Not fast, but I sense a degradation, which is also what the research is talking about. We that have this type of pressure wave injury to the brain, we die early. We don't live long. I'm very happy and surprised to be here 5 years and 4 months later. I think it's probably out of the ordinary, and I have done a ton of things which I will talk about. I wish I could have done more, that I had gotten some compensation. I have wishes for machinery and expensive stuff I can't afford, nutrition, all kinds of things. I have a long wish list. It was always important for me right away to engage with people and use courtesy and kindness for engagement that would take attention away from the pain and discomfort. I've not, still can't say what I want. This rant is entrained. When I'm have to deal with situations that are not entrained, I really struggle. I struggle with the PTSD, with the TBI, traumatic brain injury. The overwhelm comes easily, flooding. Just doesn't take much. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to cause what is called flooding inside me. I wear what looks like an industrial ear gear protection for the noise. It has Bluetooth and radio. my phone can connect, and I can be in my bubble. Here in Ponta Delgada, the streets, they have the stones, not the tar. And when the cars, they go across the stones fast, it's so uncomfortable. Really, very disturbing. Let's say that I'm by the water, the wind is blowing, there's small waves, and there's a sun reflection into those waves, making multiple points of the reflection of the sun. Is horrible. The noise from any noise, but let's say ventilation, or the noise from car tires on a wet street. You should think these struggles would go away. It's coming out here to the Azores. I chose to I wanted to really get away, and I made a plan to try to see if I could work for free food and free accommodation, because they do that here on the island. And I found a place where I could pick organic fruit, and I thought being outside will do me good. And it sounds like something I could maybe try to do that. I did it for 3 months and learned that I could not do that. It caused brain inflammation that went into the spine, and I couldn't move. I could not go up and pee to the toilet. The family, they had this hospital thing for their grandfather that just, I don't know what I would have done without that. Just would have been horrible to pee myself all the time because I couldn't move. They said, "You want to go to the hospital?" I said, "No, this is gonna go away." At 2 o'clock at night, I was screaming in pain. I could not scream in pain. The dogs, they had many dogs. The dogs went crazy outside my room. Like, "Wake up, family, this guy, there's something wrong." The dogs woke up the family. The family came down and they said, "You want to go to the hospital now?" I said, "Yes." The ambulance came and I was taken to the hospital. This was April. It was July. Right up to July. just before July, I guess. Three months trying to work that ended badly. The they gave me something for pain that I still have some of that left because I purchased extra. I know it's the work that brought that about, the 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 rise, the huge influx of brain inflammation. The woman in the house, her place, the fruit, organic food, her land and her operation with organic fruit and vegetables. She suffered from inflammation in the spine. They knew exactly. You're not having back pain. This is not muscle pain. This is not bone joints, something. What you're dealing with is inflammation in the spine. We know. Our mother here, she has this. They said I have to move out and find another room to rent. Well, this was free, but now you have to rent a room, and this island has a tourist season where prices go sky high, and it becomes impossible to find something next to impossible to find something reasonable to rent, even a room. I tried hard and I couldn't find a room. I reached out in all kinds of ways on Facebook and whatnot. It's really hard when it's tourist season here. Totally crazy. That be some places, but it's pay by the night, by the day, pay per day, per night, like high, very high prices. A friend helped me out and said, we're gonna buy a big tent for you of not a small one, a big one. You can pay me back, but you need to solve this situation right now. So he helped me to get a big tent that I could stand up inside. And there's entrance, living room, kitchen in the front, and in the back there's the bedroom, sleeping, private area in the back. tried to find the next room from there, and it was only by the end of the season when I was in the best camping we have in the island. A wonderful place called Furnas. It's a city down in a volcano. So beautiful there. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. Hot springs and the vegetation is totally crazy there. It's just wild and beautiful, and streams of water from the volcano with big beautiful fish in the stream. And a hot stream right by the camping, the most hot of all of them. 44 degree, 45 degree, 45 degree hot. Let me see. So it'd be 113 degrees Fahrenheit that people would put their legs in, like from under the knee. And that's what most of the locals do. There are locals that go in full body. And I didn't know that, but at some point it's like I have the idea that, hey, this can be sauna replacement. Let me try and go in full body, and I went in, and it's doable. It works, and you can switch from the hot to the cold stream, which is just a stone barrier between, and you can go from the hot to the cold and back to the hot to the cold, and it becomes addictive and you can't stop. You really can't stop. It's like more. Oh, it's good. What will make you leave is like, I have to pee, I have to go to the toilet, I'm too hungry. Only that will make you leave. It's just fantastic and free. I missed that place. I thought I would go there over winter, but the transport is an hour and a half by bus. I think I'm going to ask for somebody to drive, and let's make a trip together. Because when I was living there in the camping, people from this city, Ponta Delgada, they can reach that place by half an hour, 40 minutes in the car. 50, 40, I don't know. Half an hour, I don't know. And I'd like to try to go there while we still have the winter cold. I really miss that place. In Furnas, they have the plumes coming out of the volcano, especially beautiful at night. Just a tall bloom up in the sky. The acid, the smell of the acid in the air. Is it acid? Anyway, the different water that comes out of the ground with different tastes and different temperatures, and the degrees, it would be like refrigerator cold. Why is it refrigerator cold? This is a volcano. Other places it would come out like quite hot, and there's a place where you can take like just under boiling water comes out, and we take it for the tea and the coffee with a special taste. I miss it. Back to this pain, the inflammation in the spine. I didn't work. I take it easy at home, and I've just it still didn't let go totally. It's on the edge to have me screaming in pain, because I just had 10 days of screaming out loud in pain many times a day, and still a little bit, and I didn't work, and this problem has come back with brain inflammation going into the spine. I finally, it's like it's logic to me, that's what's going on. But I decided to go to ChatGPT. Can brain inflammation flow into the spine? Oh yeah. And here's how. So it was confirmed. This is very long-winded, and I just feel it's necessary. There's a point. I'm building up to all this explosion accident. It was a near-death experience. I didn't see the light and the tunnel. I didn't see my life flash before from start to finish, something like that. No. But that kind of a near-death experience has a way of touching your life, my life, in a very serious way. Look, my life was always very already very serious, full of study and research, and I thought I was serious, and I was. But the way this near-death experience has caused me to be more serious. With every moment, with every action in the life that I have left. I hope it's going to be, I expect it's going to be long and normal. I'm going to have to do something proactive because the research is dark and dire. I don't want to be part of the research and die early. I'm worried because I feel the decline and now the pain is back. I didn't even work. When I cross a street, I look for cars. I can't remember what I saw there, and I can't remember what I saw there. There's something wrong with my short-term memory. I've learned to notice my thoughts and have my thoughts about it. It's an indirect way of finding out what I should remember in my short-term memory. It's not there. The stress of having to cook for myself now that have moved out here alone. It's so difficult. Many times the food goes bad. I buy food. It goes bad. And I don't know why I can't do it. It's just sometimes it's not possible. It's hard to experience decline and degradation. It's hard to really think about the aftermath and what I'm struggling with. It's only my own experience and research. Nobody helped. Ever. Still. I would like to have recognition that, yeah, you should have the diagnosis, TBI, traumatic brain injury. I should. They did give me the diagnosis of PTSD. It's true, but it's not what is more relevant. I was in the PTSD groups. I do have PTSD. I tried to get into brain injury groups. At first they say you can't get in. You have to, where's the documentation that you have brain injury? There isn't any. They hid it. They shoved it under the rug. They don't want to give me the diagnosis. just by chance, I happened to get into a brain injury group or two. It's like, yeah, this is relevant. This is a lot more relevant as to what I'm dealing with. I feel like in the kindergarten, in the, before school, there's I think kindergarten is a quite known word. So there's this wooden thing with holes on top, like the star, the round circle, the triangle, the square, and you have those wooden, you can dump in there and they come out another place, or you can open and check them out, I can't remember. Then there was like a tube with resistance where you can have different cylinders of different colors would go, and you have a little hammer, and then you can have them pop out. That's what I feel like my head and my mind has become like. There's only space for 2 or 3 things. When I'm focused on these 2 or 3 things, I forget everything else. And I cry about it. That I cry about from time to time. Because I get to miss appointments just because I focused on something that took my attention. And I have missed appointments that I really didn't want to miss. And all kinds of things I didn't want to miss. Maybe not appointments, but I do my best. I knew after the accident, you have to make yourself happy. Any which way you can. Distract yourself from the pain and the discomfort. Any which way you can. Some days, some few weeks or some days after the accident, I started passing out in the street here and there. In a bus, in the train, in the metro, walking around downtown. It would not just be boom, down. It'd be like I can feel something is coming on. I can feel tension is rising in my body. I can feel I can't breathe properly. And the tension would be uncontrollable. The tension would just increase and increase and increase. If I was walking, I can't continue walking. I've got to go sit down. And it's like I have to find a place fast. If not, I'm gonna fall. I'd find somewhere to sit, or if there's nowhere, I'll sit on the ground. Even if there was a bench, it would continue. The tension, the difficulty to breathe. It happened 5-6 times altogether, maybe more, but those 5-6 times that was really bad. People would say, "What's going on? Do we have to call an ambulance?" I said, "No, it's going to go away. I'm just having problems to breathe. And I don't know, it's going to just pass." If I was sitting on a bench, at some point, I have to lie down on the ground because I can't sit anymore. That'd be stress, sound, visual, something that can have me struggling. Still today, I can find myself struggling to be in that state. For the first 4 years, I really tried hard to find social workers and people to listen and understand. I never found any, not nobody. The only people that listened and understood were the soup kitchen. They'd always be there, listen. And understand and hold my hand. I miss them so much. I don't miss my family. My adoption family, I never had a close connection with them. Always misunderstanding. There's a part, there's a Homer song, like a blues. The only understanding I get is misunderstanding. It's truly what I don't talk to my family. I cut them off. I try to check with them from time to time. Any improvement? No. I don't have contact with them. It's difficult. It's uphill. I can't deal with the misunderstanding. There's no understanding. The way that you should think after the accident. They think I'm faking it. They think I'm pretending and milking the system. I used to be more close with my sister. My sister has conformed and became like the rest of the family. My family is the friends I miss in the soup kitchen. This is my family. These are the people I want to give back to in life. These are the people I respect. These are the people I hold high, dear, close to my heart. I'm trying to say things and I wish it wouldn't take this long, but it's the only way. I'm sure there's things, oh, you should have said this, oh, you should have said that. I can't. It seems like I have flow, but I don't. Not the way I want. There's a international sign for invisible handicap that I just thought I'd mention and show because it's important. It's the Sunflower Band. It's the international sign to signal I have an invisible handicap. I can still be struggling, and in Denmark it's helped me, although it can take 5 or 10 minutes for people to react. Even downtown in the capital, people will pass by. Let's say that I'm on a bicycle downtown and the bicycle gets a problem like a flat tire or that my bag falls off and things become scattered. There's a certain situation I'm thinking about and I cannot even remember what really the details were. Something like that. It leads to overwhelm. It leads to flooding. And not being in the safe place of home. I would have to pull this out and ask for help. I have brain damage. Please help me. The Portuguese here, it's an international sign, but they have no idea about what it means. I'd like to create some awareness about that. Let's say that I ate something I shouldn't have eaten, and I get a tummy ache while being in the city. Again, overwhelm and flooding. I can't control anything. I cry like a little kid. I become like a little kid. It's taken me so many years, 5 years and 4 months, to train myself to have this level of expression. This is a trained rant. Try to talk to me about something that is not entrained. Fortunately, I have a lot of passion and a lot of things that are entrained. But outside of that, I'm struggling. It takes nothing, and then I'm struggling. I find comfort in my passions. In kindness and courtesy, to take the attention away from pain and discomfort. People think that people with invisible handicap, they think we're pretending. When I'm in my passions, I'm in another world. I'm in flow. It's not a perfect picture that reflects how I'm doing. It does not reflect the struggles I'm in constantly, again and again, and the thin edge I'm walking on eggshells. It's the little it takes that I find myself struggling, like really struggling. People here on the island, they're used to tourists and foreigners, and they have all the cruise ships coming in, the really big cruise ships, Caribbean, going to here, going to UK, going to, I don't know, all over, maybe up in the Arctic to look at the ice. Some cruise ships, they go around the world tour. I spoke to some people the other day. They are on a 4-month world tour, like partial. I've really been struggling with food and cooking for myself. I become bloated. I become just the stress of cooking or cleaning the kitchen, the apartment. Look, I've pushed things aside here, so it doesn't look messy. I read somewhere recently that there's the intelligence is part of the brain somewhere, and then I think it's the frontal lobe is the doer, to do. So it's possible to be really, really intelligent and then not be able to do. It's so hard to do. Laundry, personal hygiene, brushing your teeth. Normally I'm happy. I'm very happy because I keep myself in happiness. The last thing I want to talk about is how I feel. And what am I really dealing with? I shove it aside and I keep myself in happiness. It works. Almost all the time. And there's the time of breakdown, there's the time of not being able to handle it. There's the time of it's too much. Once in a while, it's just time for crying. sometimes I can talk to people about some of these things and really be in flow, not cry at all. I want to talk about what I do. In a way, the accident and the pain and trauma has also been a blessing. That I see what I can overcome and what I can be for myself. Get myself to be happy and get myself to be productive, not as productive as before, but in the new handicapped kind of way, productive. There's so many things I want to talk about, and I want to inspire people with traumatic brain injury. I want to inspire people with PTSD. What it's possible to achieve, even though it's really hard. It helps. It becomes very helpful. You, it's nice to have a sense of pride for so many reasons. I just really wish I could have some recognition for what happened. Recognition, yes, you are certainly dealing with this, that, and the other. It feels like 1,000 things, thousands of things that weren't a struggle before. So, like I said before, I think there's probably going to be things that, oh, you should have said this and you should have said that, but it's not there. And I can talk more maybe later, add to this. I want to post this for awareness and want this to serve several purposes. And I have a plan for making podcasts about many subjects. And the subject of TBI, PTSD, my ex, she asked me, can you help me do something? And she said something impossible. And it's like, I found a way. Just, okay, and I did something impossible. She said, what? You can just do that? And then there's so many other things you can't do? It's really strange. It's very lonesome. I wanted to say before, there's so many tourists here, and I like to talk to people. The kindness, the courtesy, it's still important to take the attention away from the pain and discomfort. And people say, oh, do you enjoy it here? Have you seen this? Have you seen that? I have to say, my life is not like that. I wish I could be active like that. But it becomes overwhelming. It becomes that there's a story that's very, 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 just goes to the heart. And I think I cried a lot when I came across this story. It's about TBI, traumatic brain injury, and I never found the story, that original story. I never found out where I saw it to be able to copy it in that version. I found some other versions, but not the really good version I saw. It goes like this. Two friends, they are girls, so two girlfriends, two friends that are girls, they are in a cafe, and the one girl says to the other girl, what's it like to live with permanent pain? That's how it was pronounced and written. She could also have said, what's it like to have TBI? What's it like to have traumatic brain injury? The girl, she answers by getting up in the cafe. She doesn't answer, but she She says, okay, I'm going to give you an answer. She gets up, she goes around to the tables. She collects a bunch of spoons. She comes back with 8 or 10 spoons. She says, to answer your question, what it's like this. When you run out of spoons, you can't do anything. And you better be home when you run out of spoons. You better be in your safe place, and you might want to just, now I have to sleep. I gotta lie down right now in my bed and sleep. And so for you to understand, try to describe your day. And I will try to show you how the spoons, they disappear and go away. The spoons, they represent your excess energy. Now describe your day. And her friend thinks, okay, well, it's in the morning, I wake up and I stop. You wake up. It's not easy to wake up and get out of bed. Give me a spoon. Oh, she takes a spoon. Okay, then I put on my clothes. I go to the bathroom, or maybe I go to the bathroom, then I put on my clothes. Stop. A spoon for the clothes, a spoon for the bathroom. She's like, what? I just got up and I just put on my clothes and I go to the bathroom, and you already took 3 spoons? Yeah. Go on. Yeah, well, like if it's today, I made a phone call, give me a spoon. What? For making a phone call? Yeah. We that have PTSD, traumatic brain injury especially, we have to prioritize. We know how quickly we get drained. We know how hard the day is going to be. And we ignore stuff other people would not ignore because we have a priority. Like, it's like, I know it's not normal. I'm just going to ignore that. Let's say I drop something, food, or spill something, or at home. It's like, I just ignore it. It's going to be overwhelming to deal with that. So I ignore it. There'll be a day where I have the energy to pick up things I have dropped. there'll be a day I have energy to do some cleaning because I've made a mess. But it'll be stuff, the kitchen, the cooking. It, there's a process with mess. I'm just, yeah, it's a mess. I'm gonna ignore that. I have to function. I have to keep myself happy. I have to make it a bit easy for myself, because the alternative to is go straight to ugly. What people expect of you, what people think, I can deal with. People with TBI, what we can deal with. Few people know how little we can deal with. And we can deal with things that are our passion and something we love and care about. And I encourage people with TBI, traumatic brain injury, maybe PTSD, that make yourself happy and find things you love and care about. And the spoons, they don't go quite so fast, but we get drained so fast. The sleeping pattern is just difficult alone. To suddenly you're drained and you have to sleep. Then you can't sleep at night. To have a functioning sleeping pattern is really difficult and impossible to maintain. And still we try. The cooking, there's a lot of things that are random. Okay, I can do that now, I better do it now. And I do it with a smile and happiness, but the difficulty involved is most people have no idea. When you see me well functioning, you should know the sacrifices. You should know about what you're not seeing part of my life, which I'm trying to show here right now in this video, and talk about some of that. So I think with that, it's going to be all right, and we can always add to it, and it's a good beginning. And this is major draining to do what I just did. It's like it ties a hard knot on my brain, like a rope, and put a knot on it. My brain feels like I've tied a knot on it right now. It's hard to see out of my eyes. And the draining because of what I just did is probably just gonna lie down and sleep. Let's end with this. But I'll just think about if there's something to end. I think the one with the spoons is I really like that story. It's so telling. It's so vivid for what this is like. When you see this, it means someone is signaling, I have an invisible handicap and I might not be struggling right now, but I find myself struggling real easily. If you see somebody with this, and you can say, wow, I can see you have the sunflower band. I know what it means. It would mean a lot to that person. That person might want to talk a bit more about it, or that person might just want to say, thank you. It's good to know that you know. Thank you for taking the time to acknowledge me. You know, I'd like to end it with something more cheerful, but we'll be doing that too. And this video is about the hard and hidden parts of TBI, of PTSD. And it is what it is. And it must be known. It must be. What's it called? It's for the awareness of TBI. There's a really difficult part to it that I have decided to share.